What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, Castmac Chats. Um, there's been a little bit more movement in free agency. Um, Nothing too significant for the Braves so far. Let me share this real quick. I'll share real quick. Hopefully, I don't know why my screen does that. There we go. Only big-ish news today is the Braves received the 26th pick in the draft. What's up, Charles? For Drake Baldwin's Rookie of the Year. So in addition to our regular pick, we have number 26. So that should be very beneficial to the future and maybe other things that we can do. So that's big. The slot number for that is 3.49 million. So that's a pretty hefty slot bonus, which is nice. We also signed left-handed pitcher Danny Young to a 1-year split contract, which means two different salaries, minors and majors. He had Tommy John surgery back in May, so he probably wouldn't be ready until June or June or so. I don't know why the screen keeps doing that. But it's a split contract. It's not that big a deal, but there is a lot of lefty hybrid types. Relievers could be starters on our 40-man right now. There's like a stockpile of them, and the only lefty that I am supremely confident in is Dylan Lee. The rest of it is very up in the air, and with so many lefties on the roster right now, it feels like that there could be a move of some sort on the horizon, just because I don't know what you do with them all, especially a lot of them not having options and can't be optioned back into the minor leagues. So that is a little interesting, but I mean, split contracts are not that huge of a deal. And Danny Young has pitched for the Braves before and knows Jeremy Hefner as he was with the Mets last year. So it's not a big deal at all. But the surplus of lefties on the roster is something to watch. You've got a few movements on the reliever market. You've got Ryan Helsley. Right now, shortstop is probably still up in the air, but we did get utility Mauricio Dubon from the Astros a couple of weeks ago for Nick Allen, and he has experience at shortstop, but he's probably better served as a utility. But if we go Mauricio Dubon at shortstop, then go a bigger bat in the middle of the lineup, that could be an option as well. But I don't think shortstop is necessarily settled, but we have a better internal option than Nick Allen now with Mauricio Dubon just overall, and he gives you a much better chance at the plate. And I'm not really sure what's a better option. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Ha-Seong Kim or Bo Bichette or any of the bigger names or another trade or something like that. I haven't heard any rumblings about that. The pitching market is insane, as it usually is. With Dylan Cease getting 7 years and $210 from the Blue Jays, that likely takes the Braves out of probably paying for a starter. They might trade for one, and I've been heavy on Freddie Peralta. The Brewers are looking to shed some payroll. It would probably cost a hefty price, but I think that would be an awesome addition. Now, this is just me spitballing. There's no rumors or any of that. But with the price of starting pitching and pitching in general going up as much as it is, you got to get creative, and especially with the pending lockout next year, you got to get super creative in that realm as well. But like I said, the reliever market has percolated a little bit with Ryan Helsley signing a 2-year, $28 million deal with the Orioles. I think that's a good deal with a player opt out after the first year. I think he just didn't work out with New York. The New York market is different. So it just wasn't a fit for him. No, I wouldn't say it's set. I think we have a lot of options. But he said he wanted to add to that. I mean, we have a lot of hybrids. I would expect Hurston Waldrop to be a part of the rotation. But no, I don't think it's set. Obviously, I think you got Chris Sale, you got Spencer Schwellenbach, Spencer Strider. Depending on what you want to do with Grant Holmes and Ronaldo Lopez, those two guys could be bullpen options or starter options. So I think there's still a lot of questions there. Ha-Seong Kim is definitely an option at shortstop, but that depends on the contract, and he's a Scott Boras client, so those contracts usually get really hefty quickly. Ronald is crushing winter ball. I think he had 3 games, 5 for 10, a homer, 6 stolen bases, 5 walks. So yeah, Ronald's in peak form in winter ball. So that is good, and he hasn't got hurt, so that is even better. He did not win the Winter League Home Run Derby, but still had a great time from what I saw, from the clips that I saw. So winter ball is treating Ronald well, so that is good. The Blue Jays are not messing around. They also added Cody Parsh. I don't know if I said that name right. 3-year, $30 million, but he had an incredible year in the KBO, the Korean baseball organization, and I think he was like 17-1 with a 1.89 ERA. So he parlayed that. The Blue Jays are not taking their World Series runner-up finish lightly, and they are pushing all the chips in the middle, which is really good for them. And the AL East is going to be a fantastic and fascinating watch, as it usually is. The only other reliever movement that kind of surprised is Devin Williams, who struggled mightily last year with the New York Yankees, has signed with the New York Mets, 3 years, $51 million. I think it's a pretty reasonable contract. I'm just surprised that he went back to the New York market that he struggled so much in. But good for him. They said that this doesn't take them out of the Edwin Diaz conversation, but we'll see how that goes. He's projected for 5 years or so. Yes, Hall of Fame stuff. Yes, Andrew Jones and Dale Murphy deserve it. Whether they get in or not, I don't know. That's just such a subjective, weird thing that is very annoying to me. But yeah, I think Andrew was the first guy to make defense cool. And he's the only guy that has 400 homers and 10 Gold Gloves or something to not be in the Hall of Fame. So to simply answer your question, yes, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for sure. It's just very, very subjective, and everybody has an opinionated. So I think that's pretty easy, and kind of the same goes where Dale Murphy. He's the only 2-time MVP to not be in the Hall of Fame, and it's made even more impressive because the Braves were not good for the most part, and usually team record matters. But those days, Dale Murphy couldn't be ignored and was still given the MVP, and that should matter a ton. And so if he doesn't get in, it'll be a very, very terrible misstep. And Andrew Jones as well. Again, he made web gyms cool. He made making incredible defensive plays cool. He was amazing at the plate as well. Just one of the better all-around players in baseball that doesn't get his due. I know the latter part of his career wasn't exactly what he wanted, but definitely deserves it. And we will see how that translates very, very quickly in the coming days, I think. So that'll be interesting to follow, and obviously I will have it covered and be angry if it doesn't go their way, because they're great Braves and amazing people and have done a lot for the game and the game of baseball and the world, and that matters a ton. So I mean, there's not a ton of news, but I'm liking that it's loosening up a little bit. But I would feel like the most likely thing, especially for starting pitching, if the Braves go after that, well, you're a Georgia fan, so I wouldn't expect anything else. I just hope for good football and fun football. I'm a Charlotte 49er fan, so I don't get a lot of winning football necessarily when it comes to that, but I enjoy quality competitive football, and college football has certainly given us that this year. So very, very happy about that. But yeah, I would expect if we are going to do the starting pitchers market, um, it'll be through trade. And honestly, maybe anything through trade. I'm not really sure just because of the price tags of everything. They go up every single year. But super exciting. Um, and hopefully we get some more significant news. I'm kind of just trying to play filler right now for the Braves, and I think it's fine. I mean, we always play it like this, and we've already hit the mark on some things, and the price of relievers has obviously gone up, like everything has. So I think the Raisel Iglesias contract is um, even more solid as you look at it. Plus, there's no bad 1 year deals, as I always say. But again, the way the 40-man roster is currently constructed, it feels like there's some moves on the horizon. I don't know of what venture, but there's only so many spots and so many lefties you can have, even though having lefties is a luxury. Um, did you have a question? And uh, I think there's solid depth, and I think people overreact to the minor league stuff, but you do need players to play in the minors too, and they could because you need about 70 players if you're lucky, 50 to 55 players to get through an MLB season, but sometimes you can find those diamonds in the rough and guys that you find that can contribute to your team not only 1 year but beyond. And it could be the Steel, Joel Payamps. Yeah, I mean I think Walt Weiss will do fine. We have a very veteran laden club. I'm not worried about that. I think there needs to be improvements still. And I know it's only December 2nd and there's still a lot of time, but it's always exciting when your team adds um, different things. So it's a little impatient of sorts, but um, we still have an excellent core and a lot of guys coming off of down years for their careers looking to bounce back. So there's an extra fire there. So I think that's going to be perfect. And Alex Anthopoulos knows what this team needs. I just hope he can execute it the way he wants to. Um, no, he's currently a free agent. I don't know if we are keeping Ozuna, but he's currently can sign anywhere. Um, I personally would rather move on to open up some more depth and versatility and some different options. Sean Murphy, Drake Baldwin, that type of thing, or someone new. I think that one's just ran the course. I love Ozuna, but I think he's ran his course here. And I think we could do a little bit better in that area. But again, we're not closing the door on anything from what Alex Anthopoulos says. But obviously, you take that stuff with a grain of salt with him because um, Bryce Elder's an interesting one because I think this is his last option year. If you can get something for Bryce Elder, I think you entertain that trade, but he was kind of a good fill-in piece. But I don't know if you can kind of consistently rely on that either. So Bryce Elder is probably one of the more likely trade candidates for the Braves. Um, if you package him with someone, I think, and if you can improve an area of your club and give him a steady shot in the rotation with someone, I think it could be very beneficial. Again, I'm terrible at speculating or trying to predict trades or anything like that. But I could see him as one of the more likely trade candidates for sure. Also, he's also the swing man, and he can fill in the role that he's played for us the last few years because the All-Star appearance he had in 2023, that's in there as well. So it's a tough decision, but I think he's probably top 3 most likely pieces to be traded if we are to go that route. There's a good handful. J.R. Ritchie, Cam Kittaniti, both pitchers. Alex Lodesy, we just drafted him. John Gill, a young shortstop that is shooting a little bit more through the minors. He may be a year or two away, though. I can give you the list right now. But those 4 I mentioned are the top echelon. Tate Salfacine, Biggie, thank you. Owen Murphy, Drew Hackenberg. A lot of them are pitchers. Didier Fuentes, Lucas Braun, Diego Torres, Jose Palmero. So there's like a lot of starting pitchers or pitchers and shortstop and outfield prospects. I just pulled up MLB.com top 30, so you can look at that for more in depth. But J.R. Ritchie could be a possibility for this upcoming year. He really could. So there's a pool to definitely pull from if we're talking trades or any of that. Also, our position player pool definitely got better last year with the drafts we were able to execute. And the international signing period really has helped over the last few years. They're just the shortstops are probably a couple of years away. So you're probably looking for more of a stopgap, or like I said, a Ha-Seong Kim, yes, or Mauricio Dubon for 1 year and then figure it out again, or you go big game hunting with Bo Bichette. But Ha-Seong Kim works too. I mean, there's a lot of options and a lot of things that trying to figure out what the Braves are actually doing is a probably can't figure that out. If you try to figure it out, let me know. Because we very rarely leak anything. I mean, the Mauricio Dubon thing got leaked by Mark Bowman and Walt Weiss, so it's not like it doesn't happen, but we're pretty tight-lipped about the moves we're trying to execute. So I'll just say that I think we're in a really good spot, but trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what type of budget we have and all that stuff. It's I like putting Profar in the DH spot. I mean, I think that could give you more versatility too. Then you can go for a bigger left fielder, maybe. But again, I think having an interchangeable DH isn't a bad thing either, because you could have Ronalds have a couple of days off but still be productive in your lineup. So that's definitely an option as well. I think there's a lot of options on the table. Obviously, Profar's defense isn't terrible, but it isn't the best either. So that could be an option down the line. Also, you want Drake Baldwin in the lineup as much as possible. So the interchangeable. Now, if Kyle Schwarber fell into our lap, I think I would dance the jig and we would figure out the roster. But I think that's definitely a prudent idea that we could do. Again, speculating isn't my favorite game. I try to, but trying to figure out the Braves is a very, very difficult task. A fun one, but a very difficult one nevertheless. But that is a very interesting approach. But I think we definitely have to improve with some star power and some name. I feel like, because it'll just feel stale until we see it, and there's a lot of guys coming off injury and underperformance, which gives you a lot of fire, but also gives you a lot of question. So hopefully we'll add some fun and we'll get to talk about that. But I still think we're in a good spot. I think Joel Payamps, adding him on a 1 year, $2.5 million contract, could be the steal of the offseason. He only pitched a couple times with the Braves, coming over from, I believe, well, he was an all-star with the Brewers a couple of years ago, and then it kind of fell off for him in 2025. But us picking him up 97 with a nasty slider, I think he could be a really under-the-radar diamond in the rough, inexpensive, really important piece to the bullpen. It might go unnoticed. That happened like a week ago or so. That might go unnoticed, but it might be very, very important for 2026 bullpen. I don't think anything is settled on our roster, except probably the end. I mean, most of the infield: Riley third, Olsen first. Short still unsettled. Second, Ozzie. Hopefully his wrist is okay, or more improved. I could go with that. Austin needs a big time season next year, just because he wants to get back to the consistency, and we need him. He's very, very important. So I'm really hoping for that. So I could get on board with that for sure. The metrics, the way they judge Gold Gloves are so weird, and I don't know what exactly stats they use, kind of thing. So, but I'm not mad at that prediction at all. Yeah, I hope we were able to make some significant moves because we've already done more this offseason than we did last offseason. I just hope it doesn't become stale again and we kind of run it back because that didn't exactly work. And obviously, you can't predict down years, you can't predict injuries, all that stuff. But I think we need to know that we're working towards being a NL East champion again and a World Series contender because that's the standard we've set. So I just hope Alex Anthopoulos usually works in the shadows, and I hope he pops up and gives us a good boo and some entertaining and fun things to talk about. The winter meetings do start December 8th through the 10th, so usually that could constitute some different moves. But I think also with the price tag of everything that we might have to be more creative, which even more puts a damper on trying to figure it out. But I think the Braves are in a really, really good spot, and there's a lot more depth. Yeah, I can get on board with that one too. Obviously, it's only December 2nd, but I definitely can get on board with Ronald challenging Shohei Ohtani. He unseated him with the 40-70 season. So I wouldn't put it past him to do something like that again because Ronald and incredible. So, but I think again, it feels more likely that there'll be some more trades for the Braves. That's just a gut feeling. Whether that happens or not, no clue. But super exciting, and at least things are loosening up a little bit for the free agent market. So some things might start happening even more with the winter meetings coming up real soon. A lot of those type things happen, bigger moves and things of that nature. So hopefully we can get that going. But every sport is going on right now, news or actual games. So it's a sports fan's heaven. So I will. That's pretty much all I got. As always, go Braves, champions forever. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps out a lot. Thanks, guys. And I'll be back next Tuesday. Hopefully, we have some really fun Braves news to break down and roster stuff to break down and all that jazz. But make sure you hit the subscribe button. Helps out a lot. Thanks, guys. And stay warm.